Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of 100 Films in 100 Days, or 100 Films in a lot more than 100 days, because I am very late. It has been almost 14 days. I think it's been 12 days since my last episode, so I just decided to finally get back to it. Some things have inhibited me from being able to make an episode, including acquiring some strange as an inside joke between me and my friends. And I have a girlfriend now, so that kind of got in the way temporarily, but nothing can stop me from making these videos. So, for my triumphant return to YouTube, what film did I decide to review? I was looking around Netflix, I couldn't figure out, what am I gonna watch? Oh, maybe I'll watch Velvet Buzzsaw, and I was like, I don't know. So I decided to watch the Studio 54 documentary. Released in 2018, it is sitting at 1 hour and 38 minutes. It chronicles the rise and fall of not only Studio 54, the nightclub in New York City on 54th and 8th. It also chronicles the rise and fall of the owners of said club, Steve Rebell and Ian Schrager. Sorry, I forgot the name there. So what did I think of it? I thought it was a really interesting documentary. This is something I'm very interested in. I really have I have an interest in the whole 70s, 80s, early 90s New York City nightlife, because there's just something so fascinating about it. I read up a lot about the Club Kids. I've watched the documentaries about that. I haven't watched Party Monster yet because it looks awful, but I still do kind of want to see it though. I've read books about Andy Warhol. I love all those sort of famous people from back then. I've watched the John Waters films, so obviously I know who Divine is. Divine was a big centerpiece there at those clubs. And the thing is, with Studio 54 was you didn't just have the sort of people who were, as we call, famous for being famous. Some of your big name drag queens back in the day, or just weird performers and performance artists and stuff. These were legitimate celebrities. People who, outside of the club scene, knew who these people were. People like Liza Minnelli and, of course Divine, but Divine is a bit more obscure. Also, Elton John and Sylvester Stallone made an appearance. Grace Jones, Andy Warhol, all sorts of artists, the art scene, all that sort of stuff. The fashion scene, so Karl Lagerfeld. I don't know if he was there actually. I know Calvin Klein was there. I think Ralph Lauren was there. So yeah, it was a pretty big deal back in the day. So what was Studio 54? Studio 54 was a nightclub in New York City, as I've said, on the corner of 54th Street and 8th Avenue, which at that time was a really shit area, rundown area. A lot of peep shows, a lot of pickpockets, a lot of that sort of stuff. It was not the best area of New York City. So these two guys, Ian Schrager and Steve Rebell, decided to open up this nightclub because they saw an opportunity in it. And it caught on like gangbusters, It was really at the height of the disco era, back there in the mid to late 70s. It was when disco was at its peak. And in the film, someone, I can't remember who said it, but someone described this time as being a weird time right in between the creation of birth control and the emergence of HIV/AIDS, where sex and love was in the air. It was all anyone wanted to do was sex, drugs, and disco, And disco was considered, at the time, it was considered black music, which then it also evolved into being considered gay music. And a lot of times at these clubs, it was gay clubs. And then they had, women would come because they'd like to meet all these gay fashion designers, models would be there. And then straight men would come to meet the models. And then you have the whole place is full now. Everyone's the same. People don't judge each other when they're in Studio 54 in a nightclub environment like that. There was some big name people in there, Sorry about my hair looking so bad. I need to get a cut. My girlfriend's gonna take me to go get a cut next week or sometime soon because it looks really bad right now. Actually, I'm gonna go get a cut and then I will finish this episode. Hey guys, I'm back. I got my haircut. It's actually been like 2 days. Yeah, 2 days since I started this video. So I'm back, and I kind of forgot what I was talking about. I was talking about Studio 54, so I'll basically just go back into it. And basically, the whole film was about all the different people who came to Studio 54. And there was guys like Andy Warhol, Grace Jones, Liza Minnelli, Bianca Jagger, Sylvester Stallone, Karl Lagerfeld, Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, Michael Jackson, young Michael Jackson. Like, there was a video of like I knew, like I had known, I was like, oh yeah, this place is like important and influential. But then when I saw the video of like 18, 19-year-old Michael Jackson, and I see it, and I'm like, holy shit. Because just knowing the influential impact of Michael Jackson's music, and just knowing he was a god of a celebrity, and knowing that he was a patron of Studio 54 back in the day, just sort of, to me, sort of solidifies how important this place is. And then it gets into some of the darker aspects. Of course, it talks about, the sex, the drugs, Steve Rebell was on Quaaludes 50% of the time, or 90% of the time. He was always high, having sex, and they do mention, they never actually directly mention Ian Schrager. I don't know why I keep forgetting his name. But yeah, so they never directly mentioned if Schrager was gay or not, but Rebell definitely was. They mention that, and then they start to mention, they go into the sort of downfall of the club. So one night in 1978, I think it was, the IRS comes and gets them. It turned out that Schrager and Rebell had been skimming significant portions of their revenue off and pocketing it and not claiming it for taxes. They had received a tip from an informant, the IRS had, and if you know anything about the American government, you can hide from the mafia. You can hide from gangsters and terrorists and all that stuff, but the IRS is gonna fucking come for you, man. You can't do nothing about the IRS. You cannot go outside their jurisdiction or under their nose without them knowing. So then it became a whole big scandal. They got kind of big on local news and stuff, and then they decided to make some dumb decisions. Rebell decided to try to fight it, or he tried to sort of get a leg up over the government. Rebell decided to claim that he saw White House Chief of Staff, the White House Chief of Staff at the time for, who was the president at the time? So I guess that was Carter, because it was in between Nixon and Reagan. His White House Chief of Staff, personally buying cocaine at Studio 54. Now, this didn't go over too well. The White House and the government were not big fans of him saying this. You see, he has dirt on celebrities. You can have your little dirt on celebrities all you want, but politicians and the government and the bigwigs of the United States, you don't want to mess with them too much. So they go to jail. Believe they go to jail for 4 years on tax evasion charges. And also, what was I going to say? They made a mention that it was a felony tax evasion charge. I think it was tax evasion. It was some sort of, let me check. Oh, 13 months. Okay. So they sold the nightclub. Yeah, it was on tax evasion charges. So they sold the nightclub, and then they went and got in jail. And there was a big mention of it because it was a felony. And if you have a felony, you don't get tax evasion, or if you commit a felony, you can't get a liquor license. So then they are in jail, talks about that. And then they get out of jail and they decide they want to open up a new nightclub. It's going really well. And then they decide they want to go into boutique hotels. They buy some nice hotels, they spruce them up. And then Steve develops AIDS, HIV AIDS, which him and many young men from this era got. Then he passed away. And people, when they died, they claimed openly that he passed away from complications with hepatitis, and not that it was AIDS. And they mentioned in it that at his funeral, Steve's mother said to one of the celebrity women, said, you know, why did Steve never get a wife? Why didn't he ever get married? Which meant that his mother had no idea that he was gay. So, yeah. And then we kind of find out about what Schrager did after. Did I say Schrager? I meant Rebel. Rebel is the one who died. Schrager is still alive, and then he became a very big and influential. He became like really big in the hospitality business. He's owned and been a part of some of the best hotels in the world. He sort of created the boutique hotel scene, the reemergence or emergence of the scene. That's kind of important. So yeah, that's Studio 54, one of the greatest nightclubs of all time. It had a short-lived lifespan, but hell, it was the place to be in New York City at the time. Now this is, as far as I know, this is pre-Club Kid, so this is the start of what started off this sort of era. Because I feel like there was a lot of places later on that tried to be like Studio 54 and tried to recapture that magic from what I've researched from the Club Kid stuff. So yeah, that was a pretty good movie. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5 overall. I liked it. It was a pretty good documentary. I'm not too thrilled with it. It's not the most memorable thing ever. I think I've seen better documentaries, but it was good. It kept my enjoyment. It kept my attention is the word I was thinking of. I'm sorry for the long hiatus, but hopefully I'm also going to be releasing like a 50-something minute long video of a presentation I did at a convention here at my school. I did 2 presentations, but only one of them was filmed. So yeah, hopefully I'll be uploading that soon. So yeah, and then also tomorrow I'm making a new video, hopefully, depending on if everything goes well. So I've got 3 films for my choices for what to watch for tomorrow, and 2 of them I've actually already seen before, which I know goes against the rules, but my girlfriend hasn't seen them, and I might try to get her in the video next time. So I have with me Punch Drunk Love, which I've seen, Sid and Nancy, which I have not seen, and Predator. This is the Steelbook version of Predator. I love Predator, and I really want my girlfriend to watch it, but I also really want to watch Punch Drunk Love because it's, like, in my opinion, the best romantic comedy of all time. And she likes rom-coms, so hopefully I'll get her to watch it. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me down there. Check out the description. Check out all my cool friends on Letterboxd and stuff. Make sure to hit the little notification bell. Thank you very much for joining me, and have a great day, y'all.